Let the trees be consulted before you take any action. Every time you breathe in, thank a tree. Let tree roots crack parking lots at the World Bank headquarters. Let loggers be druids, specially trained and rewarded to sacrifice trees at auspicious times. Let carpenters be master artisans. Let lumber be treasured like gold. Let chainsaws be played like saxophones. Let soldiers on maneuvers plant trees. Give police and criminals a shovel and 1,000 seedlings. Let businessmen carry pocketfuls of acorns. Let newlyweds honeymoon in the woods. Walk, don't drive. Stop reading newspaper. Stop writing poetry. Squat under a tree and tell stories. You're seeing this face on a Friday, so you know what that means. It's time for your Wild Weekend Devotion with me, Cass Opal, one of your Wild Worship Facilitators. Now, the reason I chose that poem specifically for this devotion is because we're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary of a pretty massive storm that came through Omaha on July 31st of 2024. Huge storm, massive winds ripped through the city. It tore limbs off trees in this on this lot. At my own home, we have 2 giant sycamores. We lost a limb on one of our sycamores the size of a small oak that went through our house and crushed our gazebo. The skyline and tree line of our neighborhood was literally changed in one evening. The cleanup, and we were out of power for 6 days. And I remember when the tree trimmers came after all of this had happened and all the tree limbs were cleared, we had tree trimmers come out to look at both of our trees to just check if there were any limbs that maybe needed to come down so that we didn't suffer this type of situation in the future with future storms. As it's pretty obvious, the storms are getting worse each year. And when the tree trimmers were done, I was devastated. There were tree limbs that I loved, that I had been absolutely enamored by since we moved into this home. I love the trees on our property. I have a special relationship, especially with the one in front. So to come home and see so many limbs missing was just devastating for me. Flash forward to a year, this is that tree. All of those spaces where the limbs had been trimmed are regrowing. And I think that's amazing. I didn't realize at the time because I was so lost in the devastation. I was so wrapped in the harm that had been caused in the storm and the aftermath that I didn't realize that even in losing those limbs, yes, it changed the skyline, it changed the tree line, it changed the way our homes looked. But as the tree is healing itself, it is regrowing in new and beautiful ways. We as humans are very similar to that. We tend to hold on to a lot of branches that no longer serve us because we're attached to them for some reason. Now, that branch might be a toxic relationship. It could be a toxic relationship with your government. Here's looking at you, America. It could be literally a health issue that you're holding on to. There are so many different ways that we can hold on to our old dead limbs that keep us from new growth. It's when we trim back those limbs, when we get rid of those toxic relationships, when we move forward, when we forgive others. Because if there's one thing I've learned, I heard this a long time ago, so I can't credit the original author, but they said when you do not forgive people, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The only person you're hurting is yourself. That's a branch to cut off. People are going to hurt you. In our last devotion, we talked about getting through conflict. There are times where you do the gracious thing. You have tried, and you cannot bridge that conflict gap. And you can't keep carrying the weight or the frustration and anger anymore. That goes for disability too. I personally have had to live in new realities. As somebody who spent her entire childhood up a tree, to live with the new realities that I might slowly lose use of my legs and arms is devastating for me. And I have a choice. I could hold on to the expectations of a life that I thought I would have, or I could cut the dead limbs and try and grow something new. I know personally in my life when I've cut out the dead limbs of relationships that no longer served me, when I forgave people that hurt me, even if they didn't say they were sorry, that I was able to grow, that the tree of my person was able to grow with more beauty and splendor and grace. And the tree limbs were stronger. The tree as a whole was stronger every single time. I've cut limbs. I've come back stronger. Now, for some people, that might be an actual limb as we're talking about health. And it's hard to come back to adjust to a new reality. And I do not ever seek to minimize those experiences by telling you that you can get through it, because getting through it is still hard. It's still difficult in the storm. It's still hard to pick apart a new life in the aftermath of something tragic, whether that was a life event or a personal relationship, or again, distrust for your government. Again, looking at you, America. We all need to find ways to heal ourselves in co-community and take time for a moment for ourselves. So last week, I challenged you to find a pain point and try and heal some of that. This week, I challenge you to find a pain point in yourself, to find a dead limb that no longer serves the tree of you, and cut it off. Let it go. Forgive someone who maybe doesn't want or need your forgiveness, but for you, you need to forgive to let go to move forward. Maybe that means just taking a break from our toxic and abusive government at the moment. Maybe that means just taking time in nature, with the Bible, with a poem, or with a song. Whatever you need to do, take time to assess the limbs in your life and get rid of those dead ones, because once you start regrowing, it is incredible the type of regrowth that can happen. You can grow back stronger and more beautiful than you ever thought possible. Today, I actually want to close with another original prayer, talking about not only stoking the fires of humanity, and I don't mean the fires that burn each other, but the fires that create warmth, but also minding the space in between and giving ourselves oxygen and time to breathe. Divine Presence, help us stoke not just the wood, but the spaces in between. We, like the flame, need oxygen to thrive, space to breathe, rest before we drive. Walk with us as the wood, sturdy, strong, and true. Walk with us as the air, necessary, restful, and free. Help us be the fire light, the beacon of hope, the loving lighthouse, but also mind the spaces in between, so we don't smother ourselves by all the forces unseen. We walk with love, we walk with peace, we walk not only with fire, but also the spaces in between. Go with love, go with peace, and mind your spaces in between. Amen. Oh, I almost forgot. This Sunday, July 27th, is our next Wild Worship service. How could I forget that in our devotion? Anyway, come worship with us. Enjoy the weather. It might be warm, but we will have fans. We will be at the Fontanelle Forest, Wetlands, and Marsh area at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5:30. Don't forget to check us out. Come visit, make some space in between for yourself, and just be in community with us. See you on Sunday. Okay, that's all.